is she?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 action film Hypnotic. The film is co-written and directed by Robert Rodriguez and it stars Ben Affleck, Alice Braga, J.D. Pardo, Jeff Fahey, Jackie Earle Haley and William Finchner. Now the film focuses on Ben Affleck's character Danny Rourke, who at the beginning of the film we see him visiting his therapist, lamenting the loss of his daughter who was kidnapped sometime previously. This has obviously traumatized him. He's split with his wife, but he's convinced that his daughter is still alive. While doing his job as a police detective, he's called to what seems like a bank robbery. And while there is a character behaving very, very strangely and seemingly making people do things just by talking to them. So while he's trying to break up this robbery, Ben Affleck's character discovers a picture of his missing daughter in one of the bank vaults, which greatly confuses him. He then becomes a target, and after speaking to Alice Braga's character, Diane Cruz, she enlightens him to something called Hypnotics, and these are very powerful people who can control people's minds just by suggestion, just by simple gestures in order to make them do and say anything they want them to. And Ben Affleck's character has now become a target, and he's doing everything he can to try and figure out where his daughter is. Right, what are my thoughts on Hypnotic? Well, this film, obviously directed by Robert Rodriguez. Robert Rodriguez, I think, has got a great pedigree. He's done some great films over the years. From Dusk Till Dawn stands out. But he's done a lot of good things like the Desperado films, even the Spy Kids films. You know what I mean? He's kind of dabbled in a lot of different genres. So he's very, very skilled, certainly at action films. And this is no different here. I think this is a very, very cleverly made film. It's not without its issues, but it's one of those films that will kind of show you one thing and reveal another. It's like it's got a pretty good sleight of hand going for it, this film. Because just the concept of controlling people, by using hypnosis, or they call them powerful hypnotics in this film, has been played around before in other types of films, sort of thing. But this film puts a little bit of a clever twist on it. Just after the halfway point, maybe a little bit further, the curtain is lifted and the reveal takes place, and you kind of like, oh, because up to that point I'd been noting down things that you could easily criticise for this film. It did feel like it was full of cliches. It was one of those films where the villain just turns up conveniently whenever you need him to. There's some stupid stuff happens. Someone gets shot in the head and he goes up to check they're alive or dead. Him and Alice Braga's character just seem to be going from one place to the other to see somebody about something, and they just seemed like lazy conveniences in a script. But you could forgive a lot of them because it kind of led to some pretty fun action scenes in between. But for me, when the curtain is lifted and the sleight of hand is revealed to the audience member, a lot of those criticisms that I had of the film can be explained away, and they are explained away. A lot of the conveniences that you see earlier on in the film. It will... I think your enjoyment of this film ultimately will be balanced on that twist that they give you in the film. You will either appreciate it, or you'll probably be a bit like, "What? Really? Is that it? That's what you're giving us?" For me, I thought it was a pretty smart twist, and I thought for the most part it worked. This is one of those films that kind of borrows heavily from other films, quite a lot of other films. So it's almost like this film tries at times to be Inception, with its visuals and some of the things that's going off in it. Scanners, it reminded me a little bit of Scanners here and there. Firestarter, it feels a little bit like that, and even a little bit of The Matrix. It's kind of gently pulled elements from each of those films and dropped them in cooking pot for this film. Most of the ideas in this film, in my opinion, do work. I think you could probably make an argument that some of the action scenes are a little bit lackluster, but that may be just because we're kind of used to these days, like cinema action scenes for action films are so way over the top that you can't really kind of immerse yourself in them. This feels fairly immersive, if you like, and I think the action scenes are directed very, very well. And they're certainly quite enjoyable, but I suppose there are some people out there that might point the finger at them and call them a little bit lackluster. I was really intrigued by the mystery of this film, what was actually going on. Initially, I thought it was just some bad guy going around using hypnosis to make people do what he wants them to do so that he can rob places or get things that he wants, sort of thing. If that had been the case, this would probably have been a very, very bang average film, because that was not a very original idea. It isn't that. It is more than that. The next stage on from that, it kind of stretches your believability a little bit more. But again, like I say, when the reveal takes place, it kind of grounds it all again, in my opinion. And I thought there was a nice arc for certainly the Ben Affleck character and the Alice Braga character. I thought they had pretty nice arcs by the end of the film. And it was a pretty satisfying end to the film. I think some people will maybe look at this film and feel it's not particularly original. And there are others that might look at it and think they've tried to do something a little bit different here. I can see why this isn't exactly blowing people away at the cinema or even with reviews. But I think it's one of those films that if you look a little bit deeper beneath the surface, there is actually quite a clever, interesting and entertaining film going on. And I like Ben Affleck. I think Ben Affleck, can definitely do action roles. We've seen him do brilliantly in the Batman thing and the Accountant and things like that. He can definitely pull off these roles, and he does here. He makes a pretty strong leading man here. Alice Braga's decent enough as well. And who doesn't always like to see William Finchner as the villain? He's been brilliant at it for decades, and he's brilliant again here. He's always great when he's on screen in this film. So I think this is a pretty decent watch. I was certainly entertained by it. I don't think it's anything mind-blowing or anything, but I was kept engaged and interested throughout the whole time watching this film. And I was one of those people that appreciated the twist that they give us in this film. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. I will be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.